Hey there guys, alright, so the aim of this video is to go over the skills and prioritize them as if I were to be playing the game all over again from scratch. So basically I would be I'm making recommendations as to which skills to invest in first before others. So what I've done is invented like a traffic light system. So green, that's my most highly recommended skills to invest in right off the bat. Whereas at the other end of the scale, red is kind of the skills that you want to avoid with a barge pole, just for that time. Okay. Now, this works in that you want to buy up the green skills first and then the orange ones, and completely leave the red ones alone, okay? Just for the time being. So there are some skills actually which you want to leave all the way up until the end, essentially. Now, perfect example of which skills those are all four skills in this line here. These are all to do with spear attacks. My reason being for that is because the spear animations, the melee, how do you even say that word? Melee animations just take so long, like a few seconds long even, and not even after you've finished swinging. So let me look at this demonstration video. After Aloy takes out that sawtooth, she's kind of locked out from moving, even after she's hit it for a good half second there. So that gives, if you were in a group fight with other machines, that gives them the opportunity to take you out. Now that's really the last thing that you want. You ideally want to be mobile whenever you're fighting machines. You want to be evading attacks when you need to. So this, for me, essentially, to summarize, the spear attacks are just too slow, too long, and the machines are just too quick, and they can counter it very easily if you get outnumbered, okay? Of course, if you're up against a single target, like all these demonstration videos are, that's fine. But what, like 90% of the time, you're up against more than one machine, right? So for me, I'm gonna ignore this skill line altogether up until the very end, and I'm neither mad about overriding machines either. I've always just preferred taking the machines out myself. I gain a much greater self sort of esteem from it, or a bigger rewarding satisfaction out of killing machines myself, rather than making one Thunderjaw kill another Thunderjaw, for example. And especially Core Mount Plus allows you to call out a mount indefinitely. Like, you don't need to override a Broadhead or a Strider or a Charger. You can just call one out from thin air, essentially. That, it was good for the first 3 or 5 times I did this, you know what I mean? But it got old. I mean, I just thought it's very easy to go up to a herd of Striders and just override one if you want. It doesn't take much time out of your day to do that. So yeah, again, I'm leaving this skill line out, essentially. Okay. When you first start the game, you will set off pretty much with Silent Strike, Hunter Reflexes, Concentration, and Lure Call. Now, Lure Call and Silent Strike work very well together. So those are the very first two skills I want to invest in. You can sit in tall grass and you can single out targets by whistling at them, and then as they approach, you can take them out with Silent Strike, and basically remaining unnoticed to the rest of the machines around you. So this is the ultimate stealth blow, essentially. Now, to follow up those two, I would go straight into Concentration and Hunter Reflexes. Now, what these allow you to do is remain in slow motion 100% of the time when you're in combat. You can't reactivate Concentration until that bar has regenerated up to 100%. So you can't go from 100% down to 50% and then start again from 50% down to 0%. You need to wait until the whole bar has regenerated. So during that recharge time, I'm jumping. So it's just like a kind of an intermediary. What's the word? Intermediary. intermediate. No, it's just a gap filler essentially, to fill the time between that concentration bar recharging. Okay, so they're the first 4 skills I would invest, and the red highlighted skills I would avoid with a barge pole. Okay, so for now, if I were replaying the game, I have those 4 skills invested. I would not touch these 2 skills, especially balanced aim. My god, this is just a useless skill, and I think it should be already integrated into Aloy's skill set automatically. I mean, okay, you're on a tightrope, but how often are you on a tightrope with the enemy around you? And secondly, Aloy could have, in this demonstration video, just to take an example, Aloy could have quite easily kept on walking up onto that wooden platform where that tree is and shot her arrow from there. So for me, this skill may as well be integrated into her mechanics, like, I guess, from the get-go. No need to make this a skill. I think they probably could have thought of something a bit more inspirational in a way to replace this skill. But anyway, now you really want to invest in heavy lifter. The skill itself is not great. I mean, yeah, sure, it's nice if you knock a turret off a Ravager, or the disc launcher off a Thunderjaw, or whatever weapon this is that Aloy's using against the humans. It's nice. It's nice in that case to move about quicker, but that's not the purpose of investing into this skill. The purpose really is to gain access to these 4 skills. These 4 skills I prioritize highest above any other. I think these 2 skills in particular I use extensively. Of course, as well, the damage efficiency increases when you're able to notch or reload your bow faster whilst you're in concentration. Now, the other bonus, I didn't mention this, the other bonus of going into slow motion, slow motion, all the time essentially, that means that your shots should be more accurate, so that you're not wasting arrows and therefore you're not wasting resources. And for that reason, I haven't put so much of an emphasis onto the gathering aspect yet, but we will go into that shortly. So yes, for now we're going to be investing into heavy lifter, and then you can also, invest in the healing skill here, the first healing skill, because by now you're probably running into multiple machines where you might get tagged a few times or knocked about a wee bit. And yes, now we're progressing through this line here. This line here, I think it's very, very useful, especially sprinting quietly. That's where we're going to be getting to at the end of things fairly shortly. It's a skill which I use all the time. I like to slide in behind machines on my knees, by pressing square, and that makes even less noise. But just, sprinting in general, and especially having a longer dodge roll, is insanely handy when you got bigger machines to deal with who have larger AoE attacks, larger attacks that affect a greater area, essentially. Okay. Alright, so now we're prioritizing in Concentration Plus and Double Shot. Those 2 skills are self-explanatory. I don't need to go over what they do, but I've explained already, why we're going into these 2 skills. Now, we're also going into the Gathering Tree a bit more. You can also go into this skill here, which allows you to basically increase your capacity of your medicine pouch. Only invest in this if you feel like you have to. Okay, if you feel like you're getting knocked about a bit too much and you need to stock up on your medicine pouch, then yeah, invest in it. But otherwise, go. You can probably go for Gatherer and Scavenger. If you don't want to invest in Herbalist, go into Scavenger. All right. And of course, we're also progressing through our stealth line here. All right. So yes, we are progressing through our stealth line here, and we've also got to the last 2 skills, which I'm really fond of. I'm prioritizing fast reload over triple shot. That's simply because I don't want you to run out of resources. I imagine resources are probably getting a bit tight by now. So if I was in your shoes, I would want to go into fast reload first, and then probably go down into this line here a bit more. Yes, so ammo craft is quite a nice one, and disarm traps is quite nice as well if you want to pick up some of your traps that you may have laid down with your tripcaster. But yes, so still, it's up to you really at this point if you really wanted to go into herbalist or not. Depends on how skillful you are, maybe, or rather which difficulty of the game you're playing on. Now, we might want to also take a look at critical hit. Now, this is applicable when you stun an enemy, or you might freeze a glint hawk or a stormbird that causes them to crash land. Or you might just do so much impact damage on any machine that it knocks them out. That's also applicable when you destroy a long legs concussion sack that emits like a sonic boom that knocks out the surrounding enemies. So yes, that will give you the opportunity to conduct a critical hit on the downed machine. All right. Now these skills I didn't love. I mean, they probably more effective in the starting area than anywhere else. It's in general a lot more effective if you, for example, proc a freeze canister on a stormbird and then hit it down with a load of high impact arrows. Like if you notch 3 arrows onto your bow, 3 high impact arrows onto your bow, and then hit a frozen stormbird, you're going to get a lot more damage out of that than you are going up and hitting it with R1, you know, when it's crash landed. So the damage efficiency from these two skills is far less from effectively making use or exploiting machines' weaknesses like freeze canisters or power cells or concussion sacks. Okay. So that's why I haven't really prioritized these two skills very heavily. Okay, so we're just about to max out our stealth skill line, and we're also venturing out into a stronger silent strike as well. That's because we're probably facing tougher machines, or the machines are slowly scaling up in health. So we'll eventually get onto this skill here, which allows us to do 30% more damage than normal. We're prioritizing these two skills here pretty excessively now. I'd really advise by now you would have got these two. Okay, so now we can pretty much get ourselves the last few remaining noteworthy skills. We've got Strong Strike Plus, which allows you to do 30% more damage when you do a silent strike. That's probably a quite nice one. Now, you don't really want to be investing in Tinker until you are acquiring an abundance of purple modifications. Sure, it's okay I mean, in my mind, a good modification for a weapon is like 50% fire damage, or 45% fire damage, or 45% impact damage. That's the kind of modification that you want to save and make sure you don't overwrite. Okay, so I mean, greens and blue modifications, honestly, there's no need to worry about them. By the time you're level 20 and you're farming Thunderjaws or Stormbirds, you'll be earning a lot of rare modifications. So really, there's no need to be too precious about the blue ones or the green ones. So up until you're farming them, the rare modifications, you don't need to invest in Tinker. Scavenger Plus, of course, you probably would have acquired many different weapons by now, which are demanding different kinds of ammunition, which all require slightly different resource types to craft. So Scavenger Plus is just another good thing to have. If you never want to really run dry of resources, of course you can buy them at the merchant, but often you find that you're buying one at a time, and it takes ages to buy these sorts of things by holding down X, and it just takes forever. So looting, farming extra resources is a bonus, a great thing. This skill in particular, Strike from Below, is not a great skill. I didn't use this skill once throughout the entire game. I was just sniping these snipers in the watchtowers, you know, from afar. So I was never climbing up and pulling them off like like Assassin's Creed style, you know. And the other thing is, there are elite humans in some of the bandit camps. If you use your focus and mark the humans with R2, there will be some humans which have a skull above their head, and these are the elite human enemies. Now, this skill allows you to take them out with Silent Strike in one go, but what I did anyway, I notched a couple of extra arrows onto my bow, got up close behind them, maybe threw a rock over their head, you know, so that they looked the other way, and then, you know, I could then take them out with a number of arrows to the head. Okay, just in one blow. All right. The remaining skills that we have is this line here, and we have these two here as well. Now, this is the time to invest in these skills here, and then to close it off with balanced aim. That's really the last skill that we're going for. I mean, this skill, I just don't see the bloody point in it. All right, so that wraps up how I would invest my skills all over again if I were to replay the game. Okay, so I hope that's been of some use, and that you've moderately enjoyed that. If you have found it useful, do give it a thumbs up. That'd be very much appreciated. It's also worthy, you know, of mentioning that I have done a very in-depth guide of how to kill every machine in the game. So that's my very first video up on the channel that you'll be able to find easily. So yeah, do check that out. If you're struggling with a particular machine, I would say you can go and have a look at that as well. Okay, so yeah, take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching.